So how's everybody doing today? Man, I gotta get some more sleep. I like dream about cryptocurrency. Like I keep having these weird dreams where there's a massive breakout and then I have these USB cold storage that I apparently like to bury them in my friends' backyards. And then as I bury them there, right? Like when there's a huge breakout, I'm like trying to frantically look for them. And I'm trying to, go to house. Not that I have any friends, just to be clear, okay? I don't have any friends. So clearly it's just a dream. But I'm like burying it in their backyard and then there's some massive breakout. So I'm going around from house to house, digging up their backyard with like a shovel for hours, looking for my USB cold storage. And then I can't find them. And I'm like, I'm so stressed out. And then instead of being able to sell them, I just, lose my USB keys. And then I just wake up and I just laugh to myself. I'm okay. So today, guys, we are going to look at relative strength index, all right? Relative strength index is my favorite indicator to use. And let's go over some of the basics first, all right? Okay, so there are two very basic rules that I follow first, and I'm going to tell you guys it from a song interpretation, okay? And it goes something like this. If the RSI is too low, it's been dug with a backhoe. You just gotta go. And then the second rule goes like this. If the RSI is too high, it's likely to just die. All right, so we're gonna go to Brown's RSI rule, okay? Now you guys all know the very general and the basic rule, which is this, right? If it is over 70, what does it mean, guys? If it's over 70, it means that it's overbought, right? Now, if it is under 30, what does that mean? It means that it's oversold, right? That is the basics that everybody knows. Now, I'm going to introduce to you guys a lot of different theories and how I personally use RSI and why it's my actual favorite indicator of all time, So I'm an engineer, just to let you guys know, and I studied math for 3 years, and I've been in school studying numbers and crap like that for like 7 years. But I kid you not that the amount of time that I put into my short time trading, which is only over 2 years, I have put in more tears, blood, and sweat into 2 years of trading than I have into my entire 7 years of academics, okay? And I want to show you guys all that I've learned. And now these are really important rules, right? And what I'm getting to is when we develop strategies to trade, we also develop rigid rules. Like for example, in engineering, there are very strict rules that we have to follow for reiteration processes, right? And RSI is one of those things where you have to keep very strict rules for, okay? And my strict rule, according to Brown's RSI rule, is this right here, okay? We have to remember this. Brown's RSI rule. For a bullish zone, we're looking anywhere from 60 to 85 and up, okay guys? That's important for us to hit these numbers on high time frames. And now for a bearish zone, we're looking for the negative means well below, okay? Well below 20 to about 60, and a neutral zone is hovering between 35 to 65. Okay, you guys know how, for example, on RSI, on candlesticks, we're always drawing trend lines, right? For example, here, I am on an IOTA chart right now. And for example, we're always drawing trend lines just like this, right? And when we use them as a support and a resistance. And we also draw trend lines right here, for example, right? We use them as a support and as a resistance, etc. Well, it's actually no different on RSI as well. And you know how we have wedges and triangles, etc., and supports and resistances on candlesticks? It is absolutely no different as well. So what the RSI generally is it's a gauge of momentum, right? And it shows us where in the market we are finding strength and where we start to lose strength as well. So when it's gaining momentum, what we'll actually get is something like a higher high, okay? So for example, right here, just to give you a clear example, we're finding a double support there, right? And here as well, we are finding bullish divergence and support. So these can be interpreted as well as supports, right? So you can easily assume that here is a big support zone, right? And if we draw it on the bigger picture like that as well, we can easily see that the RSI is gaining momentum, right? Now let's go over some specifics, okay? I want to go over specific case-by-case scenarios, and I will assume that a lot of you guys know the basics already for RSI, which is 70 is overbought, and under 30, right, is oversold. Sorry, I meant to say over 70 is overbought, and under 30 is oversold. But it doesn't mean that it can't peak out higher than that, okay? So what I like to do is use a 30-minute chart, specifically 30-minute chart, to gauge overall momentum loss. So guys, we're gonna delete this right here, okay? And I'm just gonna show you guys what I mean. Now, a normal person would 100% think, wow, we're getting higher highs here. Would you guys agree with me that that is a higher high than this one here, and this one is a higher high than there? So what would a normal person think? What would you guys think? You guys would probably think, wow, we're getting a series of higher highs. I'm going to go into this trade, right? But what RSI allows us to do is, first of all, we will apply some Elliott wave principles to here, right? I will draw, just right here on the second one, on the third one, fourth one, and fifth one. We're getting clearly a series of higher highs, but does that actually mean that is going to go higher? Let's take a look at it according to some rules of RSI of ours. So let's say we took the peak point of 1, right? And then the peak point of 3 formed. We're going to say, whoa, this is actually lower, right? It's actually got a lower RSI. And then as soon as the third one formed, right, we're going to be like, whoa, it's actually losing strength right now in the market. It doesn't look like it's going to get higher. Now, let's say we entered a trade right here, guys, okay? We're going to look for a point where it dips, and then we're going to wait for a peak for it to go up, and then for a place for it to dip again. Now, it could be many, 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 many different entry points that you guys could have entered, but let's specifically look at this entry point right here, okay? We're going to look at specifically this entry point right here where we entered a trade, all right? Now, this is what I would do to confirm when the bottom is. So let's say we entered right here, okay? We're going to set our stop loss right below here. And how far we go up, we don't know because we're going to ride it, okay? And I'm going to show you guys how to ride the waves. Now, you guys really need to remember this, okay? The 60 to 85. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to write 60. I meant to write 40. I'm sorry, guys. I meant to write 40, okay? So the bullish zone is 40 to 60, okay? So that's important to remember. So if you are entering a bullish territory, right, it generally will be between 40 to 85, okay? And I'm actually going to demarcate specific RSIs over here, okay? What you guys will see once in a while is it will dip slightly lower, right, than 40, but it bounces back right away, okay? And because it doesn't really get to a really low zone, there's really no point of selling at all. What you want to confirm is when you're getting absolute divergence that is on the bearish side, okay? And when it also starts to cross over to a specific zone, such as this one right here, right? For a long time. So let's say we're looking at a neutral zone of 35 to 60, or even a bearish zone from 20 to 60. Let's say we just go to under 40, okay? We're going to say under 40, right around here. Right around here, okay, guys? This zone right here in the yellow is what I would call under 40, okay, which is not the bullish zone. So what I will look for is, what I will look for to close my position after going to a long one here is I will look for when the RSI will go into the not bullish zone for a long period of time, okay? Now, I'm just going to show you guys how it's done. So here we get a series of higher highs, right? Here we would not close it yet because it's clearly just bouncing up there. I would give it a little bit of time. Even if you guys panicked and you close your position there, you would have closed it at, for example, right here, right? You still would have made a massive, massive profit actually. You would have gone into a trade and made an 8% profit because it finally dipped into this non-bullish zone. Right? Here, it is clearly a bullish zone according to my rule of 40 and up, right? 40 and up, definitely a bullish zone. Here, you could have taken profit. Me, I would have waited until it stayed longer. But now we see it bounce back from this more bearish zone, right? It bounced back entirely all the way up there. So now we would not close it, guys. We would not close it. In fact, we wouldn't even look at the RSI right now. We would just ride it until it actually gets to a different zone and it loses strength. So now, because you didn't close it, you guys are going to be riding this a lot, okay? You're going to be riding this guy. And now, when it starts to get a series of higher peaks right here, higher peaks, sure, you could have closed it right here, okay? You could have closed your position right here because I would have been scared as well. I will 100% admit that. And I am also seeing signs of bearishness, right? And we are also peaking very high. Boom, I would have closed my position right there. And then I would have taken a profit of 28%. And that's most likely what I did. I can't remember all of my trades. And that is a huge profit, guys. And now we're going to keep looking, guys. We're going to keep looking for signs of support, okay? We're going to look for signs of support where you get a double bounce, right? Here, it bounced off of it. Not enough confirmation for me to go into trade yet. Will it bounce off of another area and to go up? Bam! I see a second bounce right here, okay? I see a second bounce, and this to me is a support. And because it's a support, I see that very clearly as it is not going to go lower than that for a while. Now that we've taken our 27% profit, we would have entered another trade right here, guys, okay? Right here, we would have set our stop loss slightly lower than here, so it would have been very, very nice risk to reward as well at 1.53. Now we're going to ride it until we start to see signs of divergence on the RSI, right? Here it's clearly still going up, right? It bounced off of these 2 points, but this is the point right here on the IOTA 30-minute chart that is going to make everyone wonder, is it going higher or higher? Right? So I'm going to use this right here as my support, okay? And that's important to understand. This is used as a support. Notice here we're getting a series of higher highs, higher high, higher high, and a higher high, right? But if we take all those 3 points and then we draw a line, we actually see a resistance on the RSI. Would you guys agree? Right? And guys, what does this make? What does this make? No, really, answer it out loud to yourselves. What shape does this make? That makes a symmetric triangle, or not a symmetric, that makes a descending triangle. Wouldn't you guys agree? And a descending triangle is what? A descending triangle is bearish, okay? It will eventually break to the downside because there's a lot of pressure for it to constantly hit the bottom side, okay? Does that make sense, guys? Isn't that an incredible way to see it? So we see these points right here as an actual support. And then we draw a line across it, right? And the moment that it breaks it, I will 100% sell it, which is where, guys? Which is right here, okay? We don't even see all these points yet. All we see is this right here. Would you guys agree with me? Up until, actually not even. We see only up until this point right here. But what we can automatically extrapolate is that, pull it forward, bring it down just like that, okay? Do you guys get what I'm saying right there? And you definitely see this descending triangle, right? And then the moment you see 3 peaks, 1, 2, 3 peaks right there, that is the sell signal right there because it's losing strength, okay? So the entry signal would be to get a double bottom on the RSI, and the sell signal would be when you're getting a triple top or even a double top. Even a double top would have been enough of a confirmation right here, okay guys? And what would you guys have profited using this rule? You guys would have profited 31.61% by following some of these basic rules. Does that make sense, guys? So you would have entered a trade right here, for example, okay? Entered a trade right here because you're seeing bullish divergence on every single low. It's getting a higher low, right? So then you enter the trade and you basically don't sell until you can sell it when you see bullish divergence, for example, right here if you wanted to. Or sorry, bearish divergence, right? You could have sold right there and you still would have made a nice profit there. You would have made a profit of dun, 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 dun. You guys would have made a profit of 13%, say, and then we just wait, guys. Be patient, right? You could have entered a trade right here if you wanted because you see a bounce off of it, right? I see a bullish divergence right here, right? That is also confirming that we're gaining strength in the market, right? So if you entered a trade right there as an example, okay, you set your stop loss slightly lower than it, and then you ride it again all the way to the top until you see this divergence right there. And because it didn't even come close to my neutral zone or even to the less bullish zone, I wouldn't have sold it, guys. I wouldn't have sold it until it reached this yellow zone of mine because it's still very bullish. In fact, I wouldn't have sold it at all. If I entered a trade right here on the bounce, right, I wouldn't have really sold it until I confirmed some sort of support. And the support that I found was right here, okay? This is a major support to me on the RSI. So if I entered that trade right there, I wouldn't have sold it because it didn't break this support on the RSI, right? And then I would have actually, sure, you guys got a double peak right there, but it definitely didn't break it. I would have sold it right here when we got a triple top because this signifies to me an ending diagonal, right? So I would have sold it literally right here at this point, and that's most likely what I did. So I would have sold it right there, and I would have made a 58% profit, which is kind of stupid, right? When you think of that, you put in $1,000, guys, and you're getting yourself $500 back. Now you guys see my train of thoughts all the time in my Twitter with how I think, right? And I confirm all the time if it is the bottom, and I confirm all the time if it's the top. Okay, guys, the next coin we're going to take a look at, and this is going to blow your mind, how simple this is, okay? And when you guys see this put into action, you guys are going to think to yourself, holy bejeebus, how have I not seen this before? And I made a killer off of EOS, okay, guys? And I want to show you guys how I did it with a very simple rule, okay? Now, where was my entry? First of all, we're going to keep following that rule of ours where a more bearish zone is basically 60 and under, right? Like it has to reach at least lower than 20 to about 60. That's the bearish zone. Now, the neutral zone would be somewhere between 35 and 65, right? But then if we see it peak to about 85 and higher, right, then we will automatically assume that it is in a very bullish zone. And once it is in a bullish zone, if it crosses below the support point, normally it would be 40, right? We would automatically sell, okay? But first of all, what we do is we look for signals to enter, okay, guys? We look for signals to enter, and we've been seeing signals to enter EOS for the longest time, guys. One signal on a 1 hour chart, for example, was where it was bottoming out well over here, okay? Just to go back before the major uptrend. Would you guys agree with me that this right here is basically a bottom, right? We're reaching the oversold zones, and then we see a little divergence there, right? Okay, that is one signal basically, right? Now, I would have probably taken a profit up there because it couldn't reach higher than 85, right? But I would have re-entered right here because I saw it bullishly diverging as well. And where would I have sold it? I would have sold it right up there. So I would have entered right here about, which is 49 cents, and I would have sold it at maybe at 52. Still sideways action to me. I'm not really too interested in it until it reaches a really high RSI zone. But I'll keep taking the chances of entering, right? Because I'm seeing bullish divergence. And now look at this bullish divergence right here. This is the one that caught my attention, I remember now, okay? Because it was actually hitting the support line. Look at this support line that is formed from here, okay? This is one support line. Would you guys agree with me that this is a support line right here, right? Right here. This is a support line because it bottomed out there. And look at this, guys. It is actually getting another support line right here. See this support line? And this signal right here to me, guys, where it bounced off of the support line, it would have been a signal for me to enter, even right here actually. But I would prefer one a little bit lower, closer to the more bearish zone. So maybe between 30 to 35, right? And these fit my criteria, 31 there. This one here is 35, okay? So this would have been my entry signal 100%, guys, because it is bouncing off of one support. Like this is a support that it did not even touch, and this is now a higher support. It is getting overall higher highs, okay? And this right here is my main signal to enter. Boom, I would have entered a trade right here, guys. And that I definitely did. So I would have entered a trade there, set my stop loss there, just purely based off RSI alone, okay? And now I'm going to follow my rule, guys. I'm going to see if it's going to break out to a higher side. And I always enter these trades, guys. I enter them all the time, okay? And I enter them all the time because I will take the chance if there's little risk. And worst comes to worst, I'll make a small profit, or I'll break even, or I'll lose a small amount, right? But it's okay. You got to keep losing these trades, guys. You have to constantly keep losing trades until you win one, until you win them, right? Think of I'm gonna say it again, like to everybody. You're flipping a coin, okay? Right? You're flipping a coin against a buddy, and every time you win, every win equals, let's say you win $1, let's say $100. Every loss is equal to say $50, right? That's a risk to reward ratio of 2 to 1, right? 50 divided by, or 100 divided by 50 is 2 to 1. Well, if you play 10 games, okay, 10 games, right? And even if you lost 5 games and you win, sorry, I'm going to write like that, 5 games won and 5 games lost, okay? Well, 5 games lost, sorry, games won at 100 each is equal to 500, okay? But 5 games lost at 50 is equal to 250. Well, what's your profit of $500 minus your loss of 250? Well, it's $250, right? So even if you take 2 to 1 trades all the time, guys, you will be very, very profitable over time, as long as you're playing, say, the same position size, and given that the percentage for gains can also be equivalent as well, right? So it almost makes no sense to not keep entering trades whenever there's good setups. Those who will enter a trade, one single trade, and they will hope, okay, that they win every single time, I guarantee you that that is the mindset of a really bad trader. So I'm not saying you guys are bad if you're in that mindset. Maybe you guys are not quite there yet, but what I'm saying is snap out of that mindset, guys, and start taking it from the perspective of a probability, high probability, risk to reward setup trades, okay? So I'm going to enter it, absolutely, right? So I will set my stop loss, you know, if I entered it right here, where I started to see the bullish divergence there, right? I will enter it right about there, okay? Set my stop loss slightly below it, okay? And I'm not going to sell, guys, until I actually break this specific support. And you guys see it not breaking, right? So people would panic and they're like, oh, geez, I'm going to sell right now. But me, man, no way, guys. I'm not going to sell until it breaks my support for RSI. And surely enough, it bounces right off of it, right? Here, it never even reached, it never got lower than here. It never even got lower than my support. In fact, this support raised a little bit, right? It ended up raising a little bit to right about there, okay? This is a new support area, and that's really important. This was the old support area, and because it bounced off of here, that is the new support area. So I'm still really, really, really in this trade, guys. Really still into it. And now I'm gonna wait until it literally breaks it by a lot, this support area. Nope, bounces off of it again. Nope, bounces off of it again, okay? And now, just like in EOS, guys, it's making my favorite pattern. It's making the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, right? It's making a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can say that it's getting a higher high for the bodies for each one, right? Don't count the wick, just look at the body. Is it getting a higher high? Absolutely it is. Is it getting a higher high there? Absolutely it is. But guys, we're gonna keep looking at it until it breaks this zone right here by a lot, okay? Here, it didn't break it by a lot. Here is finally where it breaks it a lot. Do you guys see that? Not only did it break this specific resistance line, the support line that we see, right? But it also broke my previous one that formed that gave me the signal to enter. This was a signal to enter based on the the bullish divergence, and it created a really long support. But you guys will see right away that one, it breaks this current support of mine where the RSI zone was hovering in, and boom, guys, I would have sold it right here as soon as it broke it from my rules. And how much profit would I have taken? I would have taken myself a 116% profit, guys. Now, one might argue, well, guys, we could have taken it right up here. Well, you don't know if it's going to bounce off of there or not because we haven't introduced any other rules yet, such as Elliott wave rules, okay? And we haven't also introduced MACD yet, okay? So we're just going based on pure RSI right now, just pure RSI trading, okay? And if you guys follow that rule, for example, and watch this video over and over until it makes sense, guys, we get a bullish divergence here with a higher high, okay? This is my signal. Basically, all the way from down there is my signal. We're like, oh, wow, it's getting a series of higher highs every time. Oh, wow, on the third higher low, I'm going to enter this trade right there, okay? And then I'm going to use this as my support point right here, right? And then I'm going to say to myself, if it breaks this support right here, that is the moment that I'm going to sell, right? And then you see it hovering, right? And it forms a new support for the RSI right here. And then I say to myself, okay, this is my secondary support. This is my primary support now that's hovering about it every time. And whoa, it's actually going to all the way to 85. So now we are 100% in my RSI zone of bullishness. bullish zone is equal to 40 to 85 plus 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 plus, right? 85 and up and up and up and up and up. So guys, we are now in the bullish zone. We're reaching 90s, right? So we can follow this rule where if it falls below about 40, or 40 is a general guideline. Here it was obviously 45-ish, right? It was 45-ish because we've clearly established a support now, right? Do you guys see this as a support right there, right here, right here, right here, right here? Here is finally testing it, right? And if you guys want to know how to sell it based on other indicators, guys, this is the one right here where we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And watch this right here, okay? We're basically getting a series of lower lows on every single one like that. And because we're getting bullishness divergence, or sorry, bearish divergence on there, it's time to sell. And if you guys look on the histogram very, 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 very closely, you can also see it, right? You're getting a series of lower highs every single time, right? And these are clear signs to me that we are losing 100% strength. So the first one would have been right here, right? On the red line. On the red line. And then the second one would have probably been right here. You'd probably see bullish divergence in the long run. And absolutely we do. That may look like a straight line, but you guys keep extending this line like that, okay? And you see it clearly sloping, right? You see it absolutely sloping 100%. This is bearish divergence, this is bearish divergence, this is bearish divergence, this is getting a peak of lower highs every time, right? So because these 3 points formed, this would really be my buy. Like if you guys want to add other strategies into it, right there, you guys would have made yourself a 164% profit just by reading RSI, guys. So once again, this is the support that formed right here where my mouse is. And then this new support formed on the RSI. So don't think of RSI, guys, as just a measure of momentum that goes up and down. You guys also have to think about it from the perspective of, is this support? Is this resistance? What are some bullish zones? What are some bearish zones, okay? So now, guys, now that we've broken it, finally, boom, you took the trade, right? And then you profited at 163%. Yahoo! That is a huge profit, guys. You guys put in freaking $1,000. You just made a profit total of $1,630. You've just increased your money from $1,000 to $2,633.80. Okay, guys? And I know that I'm getting really enthusiastic about it and I make it seem really easy by the way I'm talking about it, guys, but I kid you guys not that it's really easy, okay? And you guys have seen how I traded with candlesticks just using basic moving averages, okay? That was really easy to trade when I was more of a beginner. And then when I started to learn more about RSI, it was like, whoa, I'm now finding something we call confluence. And confluence is basically confirmation with multiple indicators, right, that give us signals. And this right here, I know there's a lot of lines, but it also gives us massive indicators combining RSI and also MACD, right? And if you guys want to add even more to the mix, we just look at a big crossover, right? I count 1, 2, 3. Like this is the way I see it, guys. I see this as 5 waves there. I see this as 5 waves here, okay? I see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? And I see this as basically a triangle that's just gonna snap soon. As a triangle that's just gonna snap soon eventually because it's getting a series of lower lows, right? But on the histogram confirms it. So this is the way I also see MACD, guys. You don't just draw lines on candles, okay? You also draw lines and numbers on histogram and MACD as well. And I promise you guys, when we incorporate a lot of different methods into our trading, we will get very successful over time. And that's what I want to show you guys so badly. Now that we have clearly left this bullish zone, right, guys? What zone are we in now, right? We're now in a more bearish zone. Not really bearish, but more of a neutral zone. What is my RSI, guys? What is my RSI? Tell me. 30 and 60. Do you guys remember my rule that I said earlier? Neutral zone. Neutral zone is equal to anywhere between, say, $30, 35 to 65, around there, or, you know, 30 to 60, something like that. Okay, guys? This is now what we call a neutral zone. Okay? And clearly it broke out of the neutral zone, right? Right around here. Okay? As soon as it broke out of this neutral zone, from this support that we see here, right? I would have entered a trade as soon as it bounced off, went up there, bounced off of it once it went up. And yeah, it was this really small trade, right? A super small trade, but you still could have made yourself a nice 14% profit over there. You would have set a stop loss slightly below there, actually probably right around there. It would have been about a 1-to-1 trade ratio. And as soon as you saw divergence, for example, right here, where you're getting a lower high, okay? You see a lower high, boom, that is your signal to trade. You would have made yourself an easy 13% profit. Now let's look at even more examples. Alrighty, so now let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash, guys. This is the big one. Wouldn't you guys agree with me that this is absolutely the big one right now that's going on? Now, I'm not going to go over everything that happened over here, but I will go over is because this guy's, okay, actually, sure I will. This would have been the perfect point for you guys to enter, to be quite honest. It would have been November 8th when it was getting ridiculously low, right? Where we peaked out right here. That would have been obviously the best point to enter, but not many people caught it that low. So where would be the next point to enter? This is a 30-minute chart. Next point to enter would be right here, guys, where we're starting to see support right there, okay? Now that we've seen support right there, what we're gonna do is draw a line just like this, okay? Just like that. And you guys see that we're now working in a zone such as this right here. And I have to admit, it's been a very profitable day trading, profitable 3-4 days just trading Bitcoin Cash in general. So here, guys, we see a bullish divergence, 100%. Would you agree with me? Yeah, you guys would agree with me. I hope you would agree with me. So where would we have entered a trade? We would have entered a trade right here, okay? And you guys would have set your stop loss for around right there, a little bit lower than there. And now what you're gonna do is you are gonna ride the crap out of this thing until it breaks out of your support resistance line that you see. So your support RSI line that you see. Now, where is it, guys? Where is it? If this is your entry point, you're also gonna use it as a support point, okay? From right where it started, you can be there. You can even be a little bit more conservative and take a higher one. Here, guys, it bounced off of the support, right? Until it goes below it, you got no reason to sell it. If you entered it and you sold it right here, okay, you still would have made yourself a freaking 41% profit. Do you guys see this? 41% profit you still would have made because you guys might have panicked, or actually it would have been right up to here, okay? You guys would have panicked, actually it was even higher, right here. For this point, okay? You would have used this as a support and you would not have sold, guys. You would not have sold until it broke it, right? But even if you panicked, because this is now your support, this is basically your primary support, this one on the bottom is your secondary support, you guys would have made 46%. But surely enough, it bounced off of it and it kept going, and it kept going, and it kept going. Now, catching the top there, if you guys saw my analysis, where I literally said Bitcoin Cash would hit $2,800, which I'm going to show you guys really, really, really closely now. Just give me a second. You guys see this right here? Whoops. Yeah, I don't know why it's shown like that. But that is my target box where I said it would hit $2,800 based on some crazy extrapolation that I did. You know, if you did some extrapolation like how I did, you might have been able to set a stop loss at 2,500, but that's some advanced stuff, right? But what I would have done is I would have just kept riding it, right? I saw it bounce off of there, right? Bounce off of there. This would have been a new support point right here because I see many relevant points. Would you guys agree with me, right? This would have been the new support RSI right here. Didn't get quite close to it, so I would have, and it bounced off of it here with a 1-2 bounce, pretty much a triple bounce. And here we also get a bullish divergence right there. That would have been a signal to keep staying in the trade. But here, guys, I would have sold it because I would have sold it guaranteed right at the top right here. And I'm going to show you, this was only a split-second timing, so you wouldn't be able to see it there. But let's go to a 5-minute chart to show you guys what it would have looked like, okay? On a 5-minute chart, if you really want a confirmation after it spiked like that, this 12 moving average snapped back too far, okay? So the confirmation to sell it would have been right there, right here on this MACD as it started to diverge when you also combine it. So if you guys actually got to sell it right around here, you would have sold it maybe around 2,400, and you would have made yourself what kind of profit, guys? what kind of profit would you have made yourself? Let's take a look. You would have made yourself at 2300-ish. Wow, you would have made yourself a 261 profit by following some simple rules. Now that would have been hard to catch once again, okay guys? Extremely hard to catch, but I'm trying to show you guys some entries and exits, right? But let's say you couldn't quite catch that top, then what you would actually do is you would just keep following the RSI rule and the supports, and you guys notice that it's now staying out of, it's still in the bullish zone, but it's more so entering a neutral zone now, right? It's more so entering a neutral zone. And the moment that it could not get a higher high a few times, right around, say, here, this one gives me a bearish divergence signal right here. I would have sold it probably right around here if you guys were not that experienced, right? So let's just get to this specific point right there. That would have been at 175% profit still, which is massive, okay? So that is how you'd be looking at RSI, guys. Alrighty, now we're gonna look at this part right here. How did we know that this was gonna downtrend? And how did we know it was going to break out? Well, simple patterns first of all, okay? So let's say you drew a simple pattern right here, just like that, okay? But how do we know it was going to keep downtrending from here? Well, on the 30-minute chart, guys, we're going to look at the RSI because that's what this topic is. We're going to draw our resistance point there. We're going to draw our resistance point here as well. And hey, it couldn't break this one right there. So clearly it's getting a lower high. Hey, it got a double top there, right? A double top on the RSI, it couldn't break it. So here we're basically getting right into this RSI zone right here. So this breakout might be very short-lived. But what gave the signal away, guys, to go lower was this bearish divergence from getting a lower high, okay? That right here, the second one right here, guys, it gave me a signal to go short. And I shorted it very hard. And you guys need to understand that these signals are really tiny, but they give you guys lots and lots and lots of room to play the market, right? And right, so this one here, I did not short it. I will be very clear. It was too risky for me. I wanted to see where the RSI reached first. And as soon as I saw that the RSI got a lower high and I saw bearish divergence, so I basically entered a trade right here, okay? Right here. I set my stop loss to right there. And what's a natural target, guys? A natural target is right around the last point, lower low, right? And surely enough, I did take a massive position there, and I did take a 20, I think I tweeted about it too. And I showed my profit even. I think I made like 900 bucks on that one trade. I think something like that, yeah. So 28% profit, guys, just by following that tiny little step. One, this is now getting a lower high. Two, we're getting a bearish divergence, right? Three, we couldn't break the previous high of that RSI. So as soon as this tiny little slope right here formed, I'm gonna zoom into it so you guys can see, okay? You guys need to acknowledge, it's hard to see, but you need to acknowledge that this is the first peak, this is the second peak. As soon as we see a bearish divergence right here, right, that is the signal for us to enter a trade. Right after, we see this next one right there. This slope confirms, guys. It confirms really, really well that we could not break it. Basically, this candle as well confirmed it with lower volume and no conviction to break it. Okay, guys? I always remember my candlestick rule, guys. My candlestick video. The body can be above or in between here, but the next candle has to successfully close with a rejection to the bottom and more volume. But because there's not enough volume, guys, and because I saw it sloping like that, I entered a short position right there. I set my stop loss slightly higher than it. I targeted right here. And that was a big profit of, 28 to 30 something percent, okay? And now if we actually clear all of this, how did we know that it was going to keep sloping, guys? How did we know? Let's just draw some more resistance and support lines, right? What we do see is a slight support here. Would you guys agree? Right? What we do see is now a neutral zone pretty much. This is now considered a neutral zone to me, and I don't really play these neutral zones too much. Right? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Right here is more of a neutral zone. You guys can take a look at it. It's in my rule of somewhere between 35 and 60 RSI, right? But you know what? I actually did play some of them. Who am I kidding? Because I incorporated a lot of other strategies, right? I was drawing my supports and resistances like that. As soon as this one formed, guys, actually I'm not going to skip steps. As soon as this one formed right here, okay, I drew a big resistance line down to over here, right? That is my resistance line right there that I could not break. And right here, if you guys saw in my tweets, which I will show you guys, I showed people how to enter a short position, okay? I was tweeting it all night last night, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did. Where is it? Right here, guys. This is the big one, okay? I kept drawing a really big triangle, okay? A big triangle like that, and then if we broke it, that was the signal to go short, okay? Right here, this is the big one. I drew a descending triangle. This was a buy zone temporarily, the true test of support right here, okay? And then if we broke that, basically what I drew first was this right here. I drew that triangle right there, indicating on my Twitter as well before it happened, this is the test of true support, right? True support, and it also happens to be where, if you guys take a look, the RSI is still the neutral zone, right? But how did I know it was going to go lower, guys, and not bounce off of there? Well, honestly, I didn't know. But what I did see was I saw it kept getting a series of lower lows like this, okay? And do you guys know how I see this? I will show you. I see this right here as a descending triangle, right? I see it as a descending triangle. And it actually broke out pretty much right here. I'll just draw it to right about here, which makes more sense, okay? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? We just extend the triangle out far, but this is the point right there, or right here rather, where it broke outside of this triangle, all right? Because I'm getting you draw the slopes right there, and you have your supports for the RSI, and because it broke down there, that's exactly what I was telling people, okay, guys? And I automatically, I don't know if I tweeted the rest, okay? And I wrote right here, guys, and support is broken. Down we go to my green box, you know, which was around 1,000-ish. It didn't go quite that low, but that is how we knew right away, guys, based on RSI rules of mine, that we were going to downtick, okay? Now that we have downticked, right, where are we now? That is a really important question. Where are we now, and where did we find support? Well, first of all, we found support right here, okay, guys? We found support going up bearishly right there. So some people might have bought, for example, right here on this candle at 1113, and they would have rode it to like 1300-ish about, okay? They would have rode it to about 1300-ish. But then what's important is we find the next level of supports, okay? Let's find them together. Where's the next level of support for RSI? Here's one, okay? And because we use, remember my other one we were looking at, I think it was EOS, wherever we find a bullish divergence right there, we use both of them as a point, as supports. And surely enough, this acts as a support right here, right? And because here it bounced off of that support, guys. That is the signal that you use to go long. I'm going to say that very loud and angrily, because this is the first support that it bounced off of. You draw a bullish line like that, which shows a bit bullish momentum, right? And then because it was going, I don't play these sideways ones, right? Because it's still in a really crappy zone, okay? It's still in a crappy zone. And because it bounced off of there, right? This is your long signal right here, guys. Right here where it bounced off of it. The next candle would have been the one that you would have went into it. So right here, you would have went in at 1125 and you would have rode it until where? Until the next resistance is roughly. Here's one resistance. Here's a second resistance. Here's basically a third resistance, right? So you're getting a resistance zone. So here, guys, I'd short the guy. I'm going to short it probably as soon as I finish this video because I'm getting a double bounce off of it. Not only am I getting a double bounce, but I'm also getting divergence. Bearish divergence, right? So this was a neutral zone right here that we were in. Right here. This is a neutral zone that we're in, right? This is more of a neutral to bullish zone because it finally broke out of here and it got a higher high on the RSI. But nevertheless, it's still a very neutral zone that we are in. Unless we break out of here where the RSI is, I got no reason at all to enter a long position. I'm going to enter a short position, guys. I don't enter long positions until I get 100% confirmation that we are now actually in an uptrend and we break out of my specific RSI zones that I've indicated, okay? So as it stands right now, you guys should have entered a nice trade there when it bounced off of this secondary support, right? You would have entered a trade, for example, right here. Yeah, right there pretty much. You would have set your stop loss slightly below it, small trade, right? And then you would have looked for a bounce off of the most relevant RSI. And the most relevant RSI would have been right here. And you guys would have made yourself a 23% profit, guys, by following basic RSI rules. And notice right here, we are down ticking, guys. We are down ticking right now pretty hard, right? Since I made this video, I told you guys I was shorting it, and short I did. I see bearishness, okay guys? I see absolute bearishness right now, and I see it being squeezed into this area where it will break down to a lower low. I still stand by my target box of, you know, around 1,000 to even 700 ranges, right? That's the more pessimistic approach. Optimistic is about 1,000. I still stand by this, guys, because we're not breaking any of my RSI rules. Sure, we got a new formation, right? We're getting a new formation that's going to look like that now. But let me show you guys a bunch of things, okay? Let me show you where easy go. We'll just grab like a random coin right here, right? Let's look at the daily chart. I'm going to clear everything for you guys. So, for example, we got a new one like that. Or sorry, we got an old pattern just like this, okay? And we broke out of it eventually, right? We broke out of it eventually, and now we're just getting a new pattern, right? We're just getting a new pattern to be playing with, right? So every time a pattern breaks out, we just end up getting new patterns. And Bitcoin Cash, for example, is not going to do anything different either, in my opinion. It's just going to break out of this small little pattern here that we see, right? It broke out of this pattern right here. Would you guys agree with me? Yeah, you would. And now we're just gonna go into a new pattern area, just somewhere like there. And this one here is probably gonna play out just based on the rejection that we see already. So I like to draw my patterns all the time, right? I like to draw them because I want to get clear resistances and supports. So this one is now a thing of the past to me. Now we're in a completely new pattern. And I got no reason to assume anything otherwise until it breaks out of it. And eventually, this wedge broke out of it very slightly, right? Just very slightly. Now it's probably going to be squeezed into a descending triangle where it eventually just end up falling right into my box, guys. And I think I'm going to be right 3 for 3 with Bitcoin Cash. So make sure you guys follow tentatively. So there you guys have it. That is 3 awesome examples of how to use RSI, right guys? When we took our profit and we lost our profits and our losses, we saw the risk to reward ratio and we traded based on only RSI and nothing else by drawing supports and resistances, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys know what to do. Click the subscribe button because I'll be releasing awesome content like this down the road.